Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to another episode of The Dive. So, today I wanted to introduce the concept of modern men being Walter White. So, if you guys aren't familiar with Breaking Bad, it is probably, man, it's like on my top 10, probably top five series when it comes to like just overall. I've never watched Game of Thrones. Um, I guess I plan on watching it in the future, but it's just one of those things where I never got around to it. But Breaking Bad, however, it is definitely. I'm just gonna go ahead and say it's my favorite series. Narcos is good as well on Netflix, but Breaking Bad, it's one of those things where I can't like the cinematography, the foreshadowing, the storytelling, the character arcs, how it relates to the world in general, how realistic the acting, everything. The casting, they chose well, very well for the people they casted. Like everything from top to bottom, cream de la crop, like perfecto. Um, so I wanted to introduce the concept of modern men being Walter White. So if you're not familiar, Walter White is the main character of Breaking Bad. So if I could, let me see if I can show you guys something real quick. So Walter White, whom eventually develops the alter ego Heisenberg. Lock those captions on. All right, so this is Walter White. Walter White, the main character of Breaking Bad. Now this is him towards the beginning. Um, he had hair. Eventually, his character arc. I mean, I don't want to give too much away because if you haven't watched it, you should go watch it. But for the sake of this, I'm just gonna say spoiler alerts. So you've been warned. Go watch it. It's a very good show. My God, it's very good. So Walter White, pretty much, he is a brilliant scientist, but for reasons that at the beginning they don't really explain why, he's underperformed. He is I think he's a high school science teacher. Some of his colleagues, they're millionaires, thousandaires running billion-dollar companies because, if you're not familiar with that chemical industry and science and all that stuff, they were developing and building things. For whatever reason, he went an alternate route. Um, I was watching some episodes. I was trying to find the exact moment where that was, but I wasn't able to locate it within season one. I believe there's five total seasons. Each one is better than the next, like very great. So he has underperformed all his life, and it's the first season where we see his initial change, where he's turning from that underperforming but still comfortable with his life, and he gets bam smacked in the face with reality, and that smack in the face with reality is his own mortality. You know, he gets told, "You got cancer. You got cancer,
Bruh,
and you only got 2 years to live at best."
bruh,
So just imagine you've been underperforming all your life. You have your wife and everything. He has a lovely wife, you know. And I believe that's partially why he was kind of content with his situation because he did have a loving wife. He had a son that had cerebral palsy, um, a daughter on the way, which was not planned, which I'm pretty sure you guys are familiar. Sometimes you do things and they're not planned. Let's just be real. So he has a daughter on the way, and this is the first season. So he definitely got it in. But he has a daughter on the way, unplanned, underperforming. You get this terminal illness where the doctor tells you you have 2 years to live, and you've been struggling financially because they do allude to, paying credit card bills. And his wife, she kind of is one of those wives where she manages the finances because I believe she did go to school for that, like accounting and stuff. So she's one of those wives where she manages the overlooks the family finances because that's her skill. That's what she went to school for, was financing or something like that. So, she kind of tells him like, hey, that's the credit card we don't use because I guess it's kind of close to max because they're barely paying the bills and whatnot. And he's just kind of lollygagging going through life, thinking life is all great until he realizes you're about to die. And not only are you about to die, but you're about to leave this earth and your family's going to be in jeopardy. And that's really what pushes him to do what he eventually did, which was he knew he was going to leave his family with nothing. So initially, it goes from, okay, I'm content with my life. I'm doing things the right way, the legal way. This is life. This is what I've been told what life is. And you're living in, you know, even though they got the house and the cars and whatnot, they're paycheck to paycheck like most Americans. No real savings, paying back the credit card debt or whatever, and the only thing keeping them together is his ability to work his job, where I believe he says he makes like 46,000 a year, and his wife did not work, so they were living off of that one income. So imagine that. Of course, I'm pretty sure they have family inheritance and stuff because I believe one of their families has some money. I think it's her side of the family. So it might have helped them get the house or whatever. And Walter, he goes to this awakening where he realized how screwed he has been in his life, and he hasn't been taking control of his own life. He hasn't been taking life by the balls per se. And that's why I wanted to relate that part of his character arc, not the whole doing illegal stuff, because if as you watch, you learn that he gets into drug dealing, most specifically methamphetamine. So not that part of it. I'm talking about the character arc where he's awakened and aware of the buffoonery. How he's been screwed over his life. So that's the part where I'm relating that to modern men, where modern men today are realizing, hey, especially when it comes to dating and marriage, um, nah, um, I'm not falling for this. This ain't what I want. Oh, you want to get married? Yeah. Let me go do something else real quick. I'm not gonna do that. Sorry. And this is true for most men today. Like I am absolutely pro marriage, but I myself know that most average men today in the West, in America, it doesn't matter if you're black, white, I don't care what you are, especially black men, because let's just be real, we get the shortest end of the stick. But any man in the West, if you are average, I cannot recommend marriage for you. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I can't. I'm pro marriage. I'm married myself. Recently married. Family. My brother just got married. Most of the women on my fiance's side of my wife's side of family are married. It's like half and half on my side of the family. So I'm around married people, but I'm just like, aside from that, and mind you, most of them are above average. But it's like I can't recommend marriage for the average person, unfortunately. You know, I'm sorry. The average guy would be taking on too much risk with I mean, even though benefits are there, it's statistically unlikely. You'd be hurting. You'd be doing more damage than good. So, unfortunately, it is what it is. However, for those who are able to find something decent, they're able to get out here, compete, and do what they got to do. You know, congratulations to you all. You're the winners. Congratulations. But for some reason, it's just too risky for the men over here in the West. If you're a woman, you already know. I mean, if you can get a guy to marry you, you won. You're a winner. You know, congrats to you. Even though, even though we already know you're most likely going to divorce him in 5 years.
Nope.
So let's just put that out there. But a lot of the risk, there's too much risk on the guys, and I can't recommend marriage. So that's why modern guys today, they're waking up, they're becoming aware of the situation, which is why things are the way they are today. You know, unfortunate side effect and I talked about this in the 12 Rules of Life, written by Jordan Peterson, and he talked about the crab scenario in like the first chapter. And why that's significant is because what happens is when you have the majority, if not all females going after the top 20, 30% of guys, I always leave that 10% in there. So 20, 30% of guys, the rest of the guys are like, well, I'm not going to be able to make that. I'm not going to get there because let's just be real. Not everybody's going to be able to make millions and hundreds of thousands of dollars. The world's just not structured that way. Now they will have their chance, which is, that's why the earning stride, you might get there when you're 30, 40, but let's just be real, when you're in your 20s, I mean, unless you're a ball player or you're naturally gifted or you're in a favorable situation, like you're able to get inheritance. Now, you might not have the income, but you'll have like the house and stuff because your family might help you out or something like that. But it's not going to be favorable for you. Like you're going to have to build from scratch, essentially, especially through your 20s. So those guys, what happens is they know women aren't looking at them seriously for marriage. Some of them, they're not even looking at them for sexual pleasure. So those guys are like, well, if I'm not going to get anything, then what's the point? What's the point? And what happens, similar to the crabs, is they go through life underperforming, not caring, not giving a crap about anything because they know there's no benefit for them anyway. So that's one of the dangers. And I do believe there is a significant part of the population that are like that. They do underperform. I was looking at an article the other day where they were talking about the college attendance for men has dropped significantly, you know, because got a lot of guys are just like, what's the point? Why go to college getting dead and then I'm not even going to be able to get a wife at the end of it, So they're just kind of like, Screw it. Why even try?" And that's one of the dangers, however. That's why I do like the part of the ministry where they're like, "Hey guys, just work your way up through your 20s, and you'll be able to have your pick of the litter in your 30s or whatever, right?" Which there is truth to that. So it's like, hey, don't just give up. At least build yourself up. But still, the danger still exists, which is even if you do that, you know, you're still taking on risk on when it comes to marriage. Because now, and this is why I say prenup is mandatory, because now you've built yourself up to your wealth. That concept of she wasn't with you shooting in the gym, therefore, any woman you meet later in life literally has no real significant ties to you whatsoever. So you should not be marrying her without a prenup, period, because she is definitely getting with you damn near exclusively because of what you've been able to build. She wasn't with you shooting in the gym. She wasn't with you before you became successful financially, et cetera, et cetera. That's why, like, it's a big plus if you can find that woman early, like I was able to in your 20s, which is why I've made my channel to try to kind of show what I was able to do, how I was able to properly vet and find a decent wife before. I'm still in stride. I'm still in process. But before I gained the financial success, I was able to find my life. So that's why I made my channel to kind of be like, okay, if you're still trying to get that, because let's just be real, that bond you build when you're going through the worst of it, because the financial success isn't there. There's going to be a lot of struggle. There's going to be a lot of turmoil. And if you're able to get through that, when you're later in life and you're better off financially, your problems are much different. It's going to be a total different game. Then it's about maintaining, you know, it's about just upkeep because the bond is built there. The bond is there. But when you're one of those guys where you wait until your 30s, 40s, and you've built yourself to that, for one, I mean, to be honest, I'm not even gonna say just for those guys. Every guy should get a prenup, to be honest, and adjust it as your finances grows. If you're younger like myself, I'm gonna go back and as I build, I'm gonna continuously update, the agreements and everything to protect myself. Just because that's the smart thing to do. You get insurance for a reason. You get a prenup for a reason. You do it to protect yourself as seen, as needed. Now, for the guys that built themselves up to that, and then you're trying to get you need it the most because she has absolutely no bond with you whatsoever. She wasn't with you shooting in the gym. Now, in Walter's case, there is an age gap. He met his wife. There's like a 10-year age gap, and they had their child and everything. She's a stay-at-home mom, even though she's capable of getting out there and working, which she eventually does. Um, I think later in season one, which I didn't get to that point yet. But she does eventually go back to work, and some turmoil happens because she finds out about what he's been doing on the side to earn money, and we see a shift in his nature because before he was all about he was all about his family, he was all about trying to make her happy, and we know that's a no-no. We know that's a no-no. So initially, like I said, he was content, but she was doing her part. Like I said, she was the stay-at-home wife and everything like that. She was doing whatever, hey baby, cooking, cleaning, that kind of thing. Sex life wasn't perfect because for his birthday, I think she gave him like a hand job or something. I'm just like, yo, I mean, come on now. Like, it's my birthday and you trying to give me
Bruh.
a hand job? Like, nah, uh-uh,
You stupid.
I ain't going for that. So maybe it was struggling a little bit on that end, but other than that, she was taking care of the house like she was supposed to. Maybe a little bit domineering because it does seem she wears the pants in the relationship. And through his terminal illness, his first reason for doing the dealing was his family. He needed the money because his family was actually, if it wasn't for the money he had, he would have been having to borrow money from his rich, successful colleagues that offered to pay for it. And mind you, it's like just and you kind of learn more about his character, but mind you, he's in a situation where he's trying to take control of his life and he's getting a free handout from his colleagues. I mean, even though yes, he needs it, but it's like one of those things where it's like I don't want to have to depend on you guys. Like he's you're starting to understand like how he's trying to build himself up to the point where I don't want to say he's ashamed. It's just more so like he has honor to the extent where he's like, I'm gonna do it myself. I don't want handouts. Thanks for offering everything. He does kind of take it a little bit more than he takes it to another level to that extent, but it was to the point essentially where he was like, "No, I don't need your help. I got this." So we see that build into his character. Then we start to see where he is a lot more commanding, not only in his household, but while he's dealing. He's doing stuff, and to the extent where his brother-in-law, which is a DEA agent in the thing, he's actually looking for him And I believe later in the series, it takes him a while to kind of put two and two together because even his brother-in-law who deals with these drug deals, he's around him all the time, looking for him specifically because he eventually becomes the kingpin, and even he himself, because he knew this guy, up to the point this point in his life, he's like, oh, you're not capable of that. He just brushes him off like, oh yeah, you're not capable of that. And actually, Walter, he actually pokes and jabs at him every now and then. He's like, oh, really? You don't think I'm capable of that? And it's funny because he is capable of that because he's the very guy he's looking for. But that was one of the things where Walter was like, okay, go ahead and keep thinking I'm not capable of that, all the while he's actually doing what he's doing. So it kind of goes to show you like how some of the stuff he's been doing, he does in the beginning, he normally wouldn't have done it, but it's almost natural for him actually, because of course they show him kind of thinking about it and then he just reacts. His natural reaction is to take action, which is one of the things I believe is very important for a man is to take action. That's one of the things that defines you as a man is your ability to take action. And he takes initiative. He takes action with a lot of situations, a lot of life and death situations. He does what he has to do to survive. Like in this case, he's holding a gun. I believe he poisoned two guys that were trying to kill him early in the episode, and eventually he one guy dies from the poisoning, and the other guy he literally has to choke the guy out. So he does what he, of course he had to because the guy would have tried to kill him and his family, but he's like, hey, he did everything he could to try and to not kill the guy, but then when he realized the guy was not going to forgive or forget none of that stuff, he was like, okay, like this is the only thing I can do. And then he did what he had to do. It took him about 2 or 3 episodes to do it, but eventually when he realized the guy was not trying, to see eye to eye, to be like, hey, it was just business. You guys tried to kill us, therefore I had to do what I had to do. And he was like, nah. He's like, nah. You let me go. Well, of course the guy tries to play him, but he finds out like, nah, this dude, he's not. You know, I tried to get to reason with him. I tried to make it so I don't have to kill him, but
Mission failed. We'll get him next time.
yeah, it's not gonna work. So he did what he had to do. And there were a lot of other situations where he just takes initiative and he finds some pleasure in it. He does find pleasure in it because it's like he feels like he's taking his life. He's actually taking control of his life. And I see that a lot in the community, the manosphere, the red pill community, all this community of the men today, where they're realizing, hey, I'm taking control of my life. I'm not falling into this doctrine that people tell me like be this traditional man and then cater to women and all this nonsense out here. You
Nope.
know, they're like, no, I'm gonna do what I have to do. You've been programmed one way all your life, and it's like you reach that point where that program is starting not to make sense anymore. It starts to contradict. It starts to make conflict in your life, and then next thing you know, you're reprogramming yourself. You're rebooting yourself, and you're like, you know what? All that other stuff, that was BS. That's some bullshit. Let me
That's bullshit!
do this instead because this is what I see the most successful guys doing. And that more successful guy, they used to call him a butthole, a controlling dick, a condescending dick, because he is who he is, but he's very successful. And behind closed doors, these very women that call him a condescending dick are shooting a shot at him because they realize he has power that they couldn't get. He has power that they actually really want, but in reality, they're trying to, what is it? Use a form of sign language, shame, insult, guilt, to get him to conform to cater to them. And he's like, uh,
Nope.
not gonna happen. Therefore, they shun him. They put him to the side, or they try to shun him and make him seem like, oh, you're not doing what we want you to do.
Nope.
So no cookie for you. But what they don't realize is because he is who he is, he becomes madly successful, and you have a whole horde of attractive women going after him anyway. And then that's where you get the hate. the people that didn't want you to be what you were. They wanted you to be what you were, but subservient to them. But because you aren't, now they're upset. And then they start to call you misogynist or controlling and all these other negative things that you really aren't in the negative sense. Of course, you got to control your way through life. You got to do certain things. Order is what is referred to by Jordan Peterson as the part of being a man is order, which of course there are extremes to it. But in general, you're going to need structure in your life. You're going to need discipline to become successful financially and in general amongst other men and women because it's valued both ways. So in Walter's case, he starts to build himself up into the type of man where not only he finds it attractive, but even his wife, like he starts having more sex and everything. His wife is a little happier, like, oh, he's getting frisky. And then it starts to change later in the series where now it's not just he's doing it for his family. Now he's doing it because he's in builder mode. He's trying to build an empire, like, cause I believe there's one point where he has enough money, like he's literally doing like, what's that guy down in uh, Escobar, where he has so much money, he's burying it, like he has to borrow his money because he can't launder it or clean it fast enough. So he had like later in the series, he has gobs of money, and he was doing it more so because he was in build mode. He was addicted a little bit. I could say he was probably a little addicted to the power. And it was more like, okay, my family's good now, but now it's for me. Now I'm doing it for me. And actually, I'm gonna clip these. I'm gonna put these clips in there because he actually does say that in an exchange with his wife, where she asked why he did something, and he was like, his wife was trying to plead. Now, this is later in the series, and his wife was trying to plead with him, like, please tell me you did this for the family. Because, like I said, to start, that's where, that's what the initial thing was. The initial thing was, I'm doing this for my family. Let me see.
Do you know what would happen if I suddenly decided to stop going into work? A business big enough that it could be listed on the NASDAQ goes belly up, disappears. It ceases to exist without me. No, you clearly don't know who you're talking to, so let me clue you in. I am not in danger, Skylar. I am the danger. A guy opens his door and gets shot, and you think that of me? No, I am the one who knocks. Hi, how can I help you?
So, don't want that clip. So, initially, there's in that clip, I forgot exactly what the episode was about, but actually, here's the other clip. Oh, this is when this is another turning point in his relationship with his wife. But in that clip that I showed, it was his wife was trying to get him to away from his work. She was trying to get him away from it, and he was pretty much like, "I have to do what I have to do so this business is as successful as it is." Because actually, I've had it to where when I was working a lot. I mean, I was working a lot in college. I'm not gonna lie. I was getting like 4 hours of sleep, like working like 3, 4 jobs. And my girl was like, "Hey, you're working kind of hard." And I was, but at the same time, I was like, "Well, I'm funding myself through college. Like my mom I wasn't financially getting any help from anybody. I was doing it all on my own. So I had to do what I had to do." And I kind of, not to the point where he was talking about, but I did have to be like, okay, I can't stop working. I have to do what I have to do. Fuck my feelings. Shout out to Anton. I was like, I'll struggle because I'm not gonna lie, it sucked getting 4 hours of sleep. But I was like, I gotta do what I gotta do. and she helped me best she could. And then she kind of realized, okay, I got to do what I got to do. I got to work those I don't know how many hours a day, 20 hours a day or whatever, full-time student and working like 3, 4 part-time jobs, you know, because I was funding myself through college. I think this is the clip right here where I was talking about where she was trying to plead with him later in the series. Okay, is this for the family?
Things that I did. You need to understand.
I have to hear one more time that you did this for the family.
I did it for me. I liked it. I was good at it. And I was really. I was alive.
Now, in that situation, again, like I said, it was he had been telling his family the entire time, which it was true. He was doing what he was doing for his family. He needed to get the money for his family and whatnot. And he had been telling her up to that point, like, I'm doing it for the family, I'm doing it for the family, which it was true. But there was a point where, like I said, it shifted. Okay, I'm no longer doing this for the family. I'm doing this because I'm good at it. I'm just good at this, and I'm doing this for me. Because we as men, we do get satisfaction solving problems. When you're good at something, it makes you feel good to keep doing it. So here's another clip. Now, in this clip, now he already says like later in the episode he was doing it because he was good at it. Now in this clip, he had stored some money, and if I can remember, he was in very, very, very big danger at this time. And he needed that money he had stored for something in order to appease someone who was a big time dealer. And he had put the money away, stored it in a little safe area. And like I said, he was supposed to be controlling it because he had earned the money and everything, and she was aware of what he was doing on the side. Actually, she actually begins to help him launder the money and everything. And this is where it's like a conflict of interest between their leadership, because remember, up until he started doing what he was doing, she was kind of wearing the pants in the relationship more so than he was. He was just content with it because he was going to work his 47,000 a year job. They were barely scraping by. She was able to live at home as a stay at home mom, but she was still managing the finances and kind of going over all the things they spent the money on. But now the dynamics have kind of changed to where now he's, of course, not legally, but now he's getting all this money. Now he's built it to himself to where he's feeling confident where he should be wearing the pants in a relationship. And this is where one of the conflicts happens in the dynamic where she's used to making the financial decisions in the family and everything like that. And he's been turning himself into Heisenberg, this kingpin dealer whom is known, in the United States. Of course, he's not known in real life, but like his identity as Heisenberg is known in the drug dealing community, and of course, the Alphabet Boys are looking for him. But he had that money, and he needed that money Very, very like he needed that money to in order to like so somebody doesn't come after him. And oh hey, salute Sim Simma. See ya. I keep thinking Sim Simma when I see your name. But he needed that money, and like I said, she was still kind of wearing the pants in a relationship, and she did something else without his knowledge with the money because up to that point he was just storing and saving the money. He wasn't really using it for anything. So she assumed, oh, let me take this money and put it into something else or give it to someone else for her reasons. And she didn't know she put the family in jeopardy.
Skylar, where is the money?
I gave it to Ted.
You did what?
Walt, I had to. For us, for the family. I swear. Walt.
You gave our money to Pennick.
Walt, please, please just hear me out, please.
Now notice the change here, and I'm gonna talk about what happens right here. And he starts laughing.
All the things that I did.
Now that last part, if you notice, like I said, this was a dire situation. Somebody was gonna come kill him and his family if he didn't get that money or something like that. And of course, because he knows how she is, she did what she wanted to do. She swears it was for the family. I forgot why she did it exactly, but I know she did it without his knowledge or approval. So she just did what she thought was best for the family, like she said. And unbeknownst to her, she didn't know he was going to need that money eventually. I think what she did was she gave it to one of her friends to help with the company or business or something because he had did something wrong on his end and she was trying to help him out or some crap like that. Um, but she put the family in jeopardy when she did what she did. And if you notice when he started laughing, it was one of those things where what you expect. This was like he was kind of like coming to terms with, I mean, shit, what do you expect? You know, she knew about the money. I gave her access to it, and like, what do I expect? Of course, also he knew he was fucked. There was that part of it. Like, yeah, like, um,
Nope.
I'm fucked. But also, there was kind of coming to terms with he knew the dynamic of the household, and he was like, I mean, shit, what do you expect? Like, of course, she's gonna totally undermine me and and what I got going on to do what the hell she thinks is best, you know? So I think he kind of got a little bit of that, and that's why that part he was kind of like, okay, I'm fucked, and at the same time, he just kind of knew that's just what his wife does, and she, for whatever reason, just would not. Um, she actually started to build a bit of disdain for him. Some for good reason, because of course, what happened later. He ended up getting some people killed that she was affiliated with. But prior to that, she wasn't liking um, his authority, his willingness and ability to express himself and I guess create order in his household. And yeah, Sam, you're right. He was laughing at himself a bit, but it's kind of like one of those things where he was like laughing because it's like, okay, what you expect, you know? Because he knew how she is. He knew she was a bit of a hothead. I think even at that point in the series, what happened was I think the guy she gave the money to was the guy she was sleeping with because she was sleeping. She ended up having an affair with someone else outside of her household because, like I said, in the household she was losing a bit of her power, and then she went outside of the household to sleep with one of the guys she was working with. And I can't recall exactly, but I think the guy she gave the money to was was a guy she was sleeping with at work. And that's when he was like, "You gave my money to who?" Yeah, it was a big shit show. But I will be dropping a link if in a little bit. But I thought that was interesting just to kind of show that dynamic. And once again, to relate it to modern men, there's a concept. Of course, they talk about red pill, blue pill, or red pill wear, all this kind of stuff. And it's one of those things where, like I said, he was transitioning from, I guess you could say, being a slave to now being in command of his life. And even along that process, his own now his son, he didn't really care too much. He didn't even know really about the situation. He just didn't like that dynamic between their mom. And he actually, when he found out his mom cheated, he actually hated his mom and was on his dad's side because she did cheat. Because like I said, up to this point, Walter wasn't sleeping around or nothing like that. Walter was trying to make money for his family. And of course, along the path, he figured out he was actually good at something. He was taking control of his life. And yes, maybe he got a little bit of power hungry. But like I said, like he said in the clip, he was good at it. And he was good at it. He was damn good at it. Actually, too good at it. And to be honest, he was so good, he only, like, no one X'd him out. He actually accidentally X'd himself out at the end of the series, which, like I said, spoiler alert if y'all haven't watched. I hope y'all have seen this. So just let you know. So the only reason he didn't even get it done, because even his last plan was a success. It's just he got hit by a ricochet bullet and ended up dying. So essentially, he took himself out. Nobody took him out. He took himself out at the end. But to relate this back to modern men, of course, again, you had this guy who's finding himself later in life, whom literally has a death sentence. Now he does go into remission, so it's not like, the threat of cancer was pushed back even farther, so he had more time to live. Ironically, the foreshadowing was he eventually did die within like a day after that 2 year mark, which was a bit of foreshadowing because initially it was the cancer thing that was supposed to kill him, but eventually it was him that killed himself. And he shout out to you, Sim. But what happened was he found himself along the way, and that is what eventually led him to be the guy he was. His family didn't necessarily like it, but eventually she was still on board. Like, his wife was still on board. She just didn't like the dynamic anymore. She didn't like that he was in control of everything. She was spiteful. She was upset with him because some people did get killed, like I said. I think one of them was actually I forgot what her relationship to Hank was. I think he was her brother. But Hank himself, he did too much as well. He did not. Hank was the DEA agent. He was his brother-in-law, and Hank was one of those macho guys, big bad macho guys. Like I said, he didn't see too much. Like I said, he kind of insulted and actually probably fueled Walter to do what he did, because he was like, he didn't see him as a guy that was even capable of that. He didn't see Walter as the guy that was how can I say, exciting or whatever. Like, he was just like, oh, that's the guy my sister married. So I'll respect him for that. He didn't respect him as a man. He was respecting him because he was just the guy that his sister married. But even then, it twisted, because when he figured out that Walter was who he was, and even his wife found out to some extent, they ostracized him, because of course he's an agent, so he has to, like, he can't, you know he has a thing against drug people. But you have someone whom you didn't think was a drug person, and not only that, but your freaking sister is helping him, you know so he actually went above and beyond just to try to shut down Walter and his operation, and he ended up getting killed. Like I said, spoiler alert. I mean, if y'all haven't watched this, you might want to go watch it. I'm just saying, it's a good. Oof, you might want to watch this. So aside from that, aside from that situation, his wife did have some resentment towards his new founding power, I guess, his new self-esteem in himself, which I believe he did have some at the beginning of the relationship, but eventually he conformed and catered to her, and that's what led him to being not as successful as his counterparts for whatever reason, right? But when he got that power and he was good at it, like he said in the clip, when he was good at it, and he was like, "No, I'm doing like in this clip that I played when he said, I'm doing this for me because I'm good at it. Like y'all good, y'all gonna be good from me doing what I'm doing, but I did this. I'm doing what I'm doing right now for me, and y'all gonna benefit from whatever it is I'm doing." You see what I'm saying? So it's not just he was doing what he was doing just for his family. He was doing what he was doing for himself, and his family would benefit financially from it. And of course, he would make sure it wouldn't negatively impede his family, but she just didn't like what he was doing. She didn't care to try to understand. She just knew she lost whatever authority or whatever she did have in their household. Let me see if I can throw this link in here. Hey, before the billions. Welcome, welcome. I hope you watch Breaking Bad. I'm about to drop the link so we can kind of talk to it because I'm kind of relating Walter White to modern men and how his character arc, aside from the illegal stuff, how he kind of finds himself, empowers himself, and eventually becomes the kind of man that, if it was legal, women and people would adore. But it was more so like, of course, in his case, it wasn't legal. So, but how he was focused on a purpose, which unfortunately was illegal, but he was focused on a purpose that eventually led to some type of security or success. Let me see. Oh, there we go. But I did find that interesting. Of course, link in the chat. But I found that very interesting because when I was thinking about it the other day, and I was like, you know what? Because I was talking about my wife about back Breaking Bad, and we were talking about his character. I was like, you know what? His character arc is very similar to like what we're kind of seeing with guys today. And Jesse Pinkman, he's like the reverse. He's like the inverse of that. Walter White is the guy. He got awakened with the red pill. He saw things as they were, and he took it by the balls. Walter White, he saw things as they were. He took command and charge and took everything by the ball. Jesse Pinkman was like the inverse of that. Jesse was the one, he saw things as they were, and as he started to see things as they were more and more, he kind of declined. He was withdrawn. He wasn't strong enough or willing or able to do the things Walter was. As a matter of fact, he was conflicting a lot of the times because his morals, he just couldn't let go of his general morals. Whereas, and when I say his morals, I mean like assume his morals are like the blue pill ideology. He couldn't let go of that to accept the world as it is and do what he had to do. Of course, like I said, in this case it was illegal, but I'm just making I'm just kind of relating the concepts, not the acts. Now, Walter, on the other hand, he was more than capable and willing to do what he needed to do to be successful in that field. And he was like, to hell with all that blue pill ideology stuff. He's like, I ain't even gonna do that. Nope. And he got into his field, and he was amongst guys that even they were kind of shocked at what he was doing. And he was like,
Hello there.
hey, I'm here. I'm gonna do what I gotta do. And he did what he had to do. Now, like I said, I'm not talking about the actual acts of of cooking methamphetamine. I'm talking about, the concept of it, aside from the illegal part, just the actual concept of him doing what he had to do in a certain field to be successful and put himself in the purpose first ahead of, um, in this case, his wife, or trying to please his wife, which in doing so, he was underperformer. He was a college student, not a college student, but a teacher at a high school. All his colleagues went on to be madly successful, and here he was catering to his wife, whom at the time was a stay-at-home mom. She wasn't earning anything, but she was still running the household, essentially. You see what I'm saying? So when he started taking command, a lot more money started coming in. She started seeing him a lot less. She was actually getting concerned because there was one point in this first episode where she was like, "Where are you going? Like, why you keep going out?" Like she was concerned that he wasn't at the house as much as he used to because he was out there working, doing what he had to do. She was missing him like she should, but it wasn't more so like she was thinking, "Oh, he out there working like he's supposed to be." She was thinking actually, I think she thought he was cheating or something. She wasn't thinking, "Oh, he's just putting in extra hours to try to earn more." She thought he was cheating. And that's another thing when it comes to women where they always think of the negative first. Like if I'm like, "Hey baby, I got to work overtime," some women will get it, be like, "Okay, go ahead, make that money." And then some women, they're gonna be sitting out in the parking lot at your job making sure you there because they think you cheating or something. They always got this negative perception. But I thought that was interesting because he was trying to. I think she found out he had a second phone, which that is a little suspect. But in this case, he was like, "Oh no, I'm not cheating. I'm just." Of course, he couldn't tell her that was the work phone, but he was like, "No, I'm not cheating." He's like, "I'm definitely not cheating. I'm just, I gotta, I got." He couldn't tell her at the time because he wasn't sure how he got. Now, eventually, he did tell her, but he was like, he didn't want to tell her, but he was like, "I'm not cheating. I'm just." That's the work phone. But of course, she thought he was cheating. That's all she could think of. Because I don't think she thought he could be a drug dealer or kingpin or whatever he was doing. She didn't think. I don't even think she thought he could be madly successful. To be honest, if I'm just being honest. But the links in there if anybody want to come up and share what y'all think about this concept of modern men being Walter White. I gotta clip these in the description so you guys can kind of go back. These are like some of the like the best moments in the show. Again, like I said, go watch the show itself because I mean it is like 5 seasons, but it is awesome. It is amazing. Trust me, you will want to go watch it if you haven't. And if you're watching this, sorry for the sorry for the spoilers, but I warned you. But yeah, I'm gonna make sure I put these in the description so you guys can kind of watch these clips. And it just kind of shows like pivotal moments in the show. I did show some of them here, but you still want to go watch the show itself, and you'll understand exactly where I'm coming from. Ooh, I don't think I can say those changes. Might have to go to YouTube and do it. But you'll see exactly what I mean because you'll start to see his character arc. Oh, we got before the billions in the building. Hello,
Hey,
hello.
hey, what's good, man? How you doing?
I'm doing all right. How you doing? Welcome.
Doing well. Doing well. I actually just made it into the house.
Oh
I just
yeah.
went, yeah, just went to the gym and went to go grocery shopping right quick. But I saw that you were going live, so I wanted to play you in the background. But since you dropped the link, I was like, let me go ahead and come on up.
Yeah. Welcome, welcome. So this I like to do of course I'm gonna probably talk about hot topics, but every now and then I like to put stuff out that nobody really talking about. And I was just it was one of those things where I was talking to my wife about Breaking Bad because it was one of those things where we need to watch it. That's my daughter in the background. But oh yeah, yeah, go ahead and take it. But I
No, I
was
was.
watching Breaking Bad and I was like, you know what? Walter White's character pairs up very well with the concept of modern men today, especially those in the space. Have you watched Breaking Bad?
I have watched a few episodes. I have not sat down and watched the whole series or anything. Um, I know I don't know if you put the spoiler alert out there or not,
Oh yeah, yeah,
but
I did.
yeah. So the episodes I watched the first episode, all right, and then I skipped all the way to the end. So I have no clue what happened in the middle. But
Yeah.
from what I know is the first episode he found out he had cancer.
Uh-huh.
Um, he ended up starting to cook up meth, and then when he finally he got into speaking with Jesse Pinkman, and then they ended up killing that first guy in the
Hmm.
van,
Yeah, with the
and
gas.
yeah, and then they dissolved him or whatever it is.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, that was a good first episode. I was like, man, you
So
know,
when you said you watched the beginning and the end, was it the episode or was it for the series?
the beginning of the first episode. I watched the
Hmm.
first episode, and watched the last. I want to say 3 episodes of the series.
Because I think it's like 5 seasons, so like season 5,
Season
like the
five.
very end.
Yep, the very
S-
very end.
So from your perspective, what can you say that jump from the first? Because there was a lot in the middle. Like his character arc was, like so. What can you say in contrast how he was at the beginning versus what you saw at the end?
Yeah, he's the one who knocks, right? But
Yeah.
most definitely, he went from of course, like before he found out he had cancer, he probably just a regular everyday guy.
Hmm.
Um, and then just like how you said, he wasn't highly successful or anything like that. He was just a high school teacher, and with that, he was able to go from doing that, and he was extremely intelligent.
Yeah.
And but he ended up getting, I guess, the wife's brother killed.
That
And
was like later in the episode. I think that might have been season 5.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like it was at the very end,
Hmm.
and then they had, and then I guess at the very very end, he ended up getting revenge for the brother, despite the wife attacking him with the knife and everything.
Hmm. Shoot, I
So
forgot about
yeah,
that part.
I'm telling you, man, that's the only thing. It's vivid to me because it's the only thing I watched.
Yeah.
But the only reason I ain't just watched the whole series and stuff is really because I didn't have much time to sit down and watch it, and then hour long episodes is kind of like I can't really keep my attention on it too much.
Hmm.
I say this, but then I can watch like 3 hours of a live stream on YouTube,
Well, I'll be watching it when
straight.
I'm at work though.
Yeah, I tried to do that and stuff, but then
Well, not
I
not
was
Breaking Bad.
watching.
I'm talking about like when I'm on YouTube. Like I can watch YouTube while I'm working and stuff.
Yeah, I watched YouTube. And then Castlevania came out on Netflix, and I was like, oh yeah, I gotta watch that.
And
But
I just came up with something different because now what you just said, you reminded me of something where I was just talking about that concept where a lot of guys today are underperforming because they kind of feel like they don't really have a chance, you know?
mm-hmm,
So it kind of shows like some of these underperforming guys, of course, they're shunned by society, but even in his case, like Walter's case, this guy was absolutely brilliant. Like he was
right,
average, but probably below average by some people, but he was absolutely brilliant.
mm-hmm,
It just shows like he has this dormant, what do you call like,
hidden talent.
yeah, it's like a hidden talent. And for whatever reason, of course, he became aware of the illegal, but like I said, not the act, just the concept. So when he learned about what he was good at or an alternate way of performing or whatever, he was madly successful at it. But he just wasn't aware of it. Like I believe in the first episode, he like went on that ride along and everything, and he had learned more about it, before he actually got into it. And he was like, "Oh, I can do this. I can do this much better." And then he kind of was like, he implemented, he took action, he took initiative, and then he became madly successful. And it's one of those things where it's like I can see that with a lot of guys today, where it's like they're average, maybe below average. People are telling them they're not capable of doing it or they're not capable of doing this or that. And I'm just like, they don't even know that they could be madly successful if they expanded their horizons. Maybe they need to learn a little bit more about something, but they're capable. It's just they just have all that dormant talent, you know?
Yeah, man, that's facts. I mean, you know, obviously, like we know what happened in the show and stuff like that, but that's how it is for a lot of these people. That's why I talk about gaining confidence in yourself.
Hmm.
There's overall you see a lot of this, like they say the blue pill people, are the blue pill men are actually scarier, right? Well, at least somebody said that, and I was like, why is that? Or like the Simps are scarier because
Yeah.
they'll be doing stuff for women that you be sitting here thinking like, wait a second, what? Like you ever seen that video where the guy was talking about, so you ready to die for that pee? I
Yeah, I
am.
remember that.
You know what I mean? Or but and you got these people who will attack women and stuff like that because they rejected them, and
Hmm.
overall, it's just absolutely crazy stuff that a lot of these people will do because they don't have the confidence in themselves to say, "Oh, okay, it's whatever." So that's why I'm working on being a better person myself, leading by example. And I just left from the gym, and then I made a statement the other day. I was like, if a girl rejects you or whatever, and it may hurt or whatever, but just do like 100 push-ups.
Hmm.
And
Don't throw
even
your
if you
life
can't,
away over it.
all right, and even if you can't do 100, just get yourself to where you can work towards getting to 100 push-ups, because push-ups is something that helps you with your posture, your balance, helps you with you also gain musculature. You also gain confidence because you see yourself in the mirror every day. You're like, okay, I'm looking a lot better. It's and then you work out many different parts of your body, so it gives you something to do, and then it leads to better results. So that way, maybe that girl rejected you, but then another woman would take you on.
So
So
creating value for themselves.
exactly. And actually, let me see what some C was saying.
When you are moved by either proving a point or an impending death, your moral compass will be moved aside.
Yeah, and that's isn't that what happened? Like Jesse tried to kill Walter White.
Yeah, he actually tried a few times, I think. But like there was one part where he was literally trying to like straight up end him because he found out some things that Walter did. I think he like uh, spoiler alert. I think he had poisoned a kid with something, and he made it seem like a drug dealer did it, and then they went to take care of the drug dealer, and then later on he found out it was actually Walter, and he had planned it.
Dang, he planned on
Yeah.
killing the kid.
Well, he didn't plan on killing the kid. I think he just tried to like put him in the ICU or something. Like I don't, but he was like he knew there was a possibility that the kid could die because I think it was like ricin or something, which is very
Oh yeah,
severe.
yeah, you'll die. Yeah.
Yeah, but it was one of those things where he needed Jesse to try to go at the drug dealer guy, and that was one of the plans. He was like, if I make it seem like the drug dealer guy harmed the kid, Jesse will be on board.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
the,
then
the little kid most likely died.
I think I can't recall if he did or didn't, but I do know because I think there was one episode where he actually went to the hospital and they were trying to figure out what was wrong with the kid, and he might have wrote on the chart ricin just so they knew, so they could actually like help him properly.
Hmm.
But
Yeah,
I'm not
that
sure
thing
for
that will take you out.
yeah. I think it takes a little while too. Like it doesn't like it's not immediate. It might take like a week or two.
Yeah, I don't even know if it. I don't even know if there's anything that it can do to help him.
I think there's can be. Well, the thing is, it looks natural. So if they don't know to look for it, then they can't really help you because they're like, I don't know what's wrong, you know. But
Mm,
I think that's why, because it's like I'm trying to remember, but I do think he went to the hospital and was like test for ricin or something like that, and he was trying to give them a heads up to save the kid,
mm.
but he was the one responsible for it. But you know what I'm
Yeah, I got you. Yeah. Oh, yeah. He's like, oh, well, why don't y'all look into this?
saying? Yeah, something like that.
He try to. He one of them kind of people who will steal your watch or steal your money to help you try to help you find it.
Yep, and then get a reward for it.
Right. Oh, thank you so much. Oh my gosh, man. I
I'm
mean, yeah, he was
just,
trifling though. He was most definitely trifling.
oh
Trifling.
yeah,
So he
but
killing kids and carrying on.
yeah, if you guys watch this series from start to beginning, you'll get exactly what I'm talking about. And I was talking about the Jesse situation because let's just be real, not everybody is a performer. Not everybody's gonna win. And in Jesse's case, he's like one of those guys you were talking about before the billions, the guys that are dangerous, where it's like
Hmm.
he was seeing reality for what it was, but he was unwilling to
To
accept
accept
it.
it.
Like he
Hmm.
was self-destructive. Whereas Walter, he was thriving in it. He was like, "Oh, this is what it is. I can do that." And he was doing what he needed to do to be successful. And Jesse, he was kind of like the opposite, where he was collapsing. Actually, there was one point in the show where he was actually about to be all the way out, and he was messing up a deal that Walter was trying to do because they knew Jesse, whom was the other half of the group, was trying to get out, and the other drug dealer was like, "Oh no, I need it all or nothing." And Jesse was messing up because of his girl. He had a girl that was messing
Okay.
everything up, and of course, even in that situation, now Walter didn't kill her, but he watched her die. He went over
Mm.
Jesse's house, and spoiler alert, he went over his house where the girl was there. He didn't like the girl. I think he actually did contemplating ending her, but they had did some drugs, and I don't know if people are familiar with people that do drugs, but one of the things you can do is you can actually choke on your vomit when you're sleeping.
Sheesh.
So they had did some drugs, and she had threw up while she was sleeping, and she was choking on her vomit, and Walter's initial reaction, he was like, "Oh, let me try to help," and then he realized, like, "Wait a second, you're creating all this problem. So therefore, if I were to just let you die, you know what I'm saying?" So that he just stood there and watched her as she died.
Mm.
And it's like, of course, he wasn't responsible, but let's just be real, he could have helped, but he was like, I'd rather not. He's
It's
like,
in
you're
his
creating
best
all these
interest.
problems. Yeah, yeah, it's in my best interest. It's actually if you were to die. And then Jesse woke up and she was dead, and then of course he felt all guilty.
Hmm.
And
Joe.
actually, my mic disconnected. But actually, Walter, in that moment of weakness with Jesse, because he was feeling all guilty, it made it easier for him to manipulate Jesse. So he got both benefits. He got rid of the problem, and he was able to more easily manipulate Jesse.
Hmm. That's the cautionary tale telling people not to do drugs. I
Yep.
actually was I was in the barbershop earlier, just got a haircut, and we were talking about how the crack era affected everybody so badly, back in the day, right? And they had some guys that's been there. They're older. They were like, man, I was 13 years old when the crack era was going on. Man, there would be some beautiful women in the neighborhood, and then they ended up getting on crack. And then this one guy, well, actually my barber, he was like, "Oh yeah, I had it had three girls who got on that stuff." He saw one girl and her nose had collapsed, and like her whole facial structure had changed where he couldn't even recognize her anymore. So
I ain't
he
never
was
heard of
like,
that.
"Yeah, it was like something." He had like he actually had she was doing drugs, She was doing crack, and then she had a boyfriend who was beating on her.
Oh.
So like her whole facial structure had changed. After that, he said he walked right past it, didn't even know it was her.
Mm, damn.
So I was like, man. And then I was watching. Well, I didn't really watch too much of it. I watched the first episode of Snowfall, and Snowfall is about crack too. But
Where's
he
that
was
on?
talking. Snowfall is on FX. It's on FX, but it's on Hulu.
Oh, okay.
So if you want to watch it on Hulu,
It
then
sounds
it's on there.
familiar. 'Cause I
Yeah,
had a
it,
Hulu subscription, but I think I discontinued.
yeah, man. It's that $6.99 be something else.
Well, I got it's just because I wasn't using it because I got Netflix, Amazon, and HBO Max. I had to renew my HBO Max, but
Yeah, I
I was
love
like, I
HBO
don't really
Max though.
watch Hulu, so that's why I was like,
Yeah, I like HBO Max the most. Well, actually, I'm sorry. I like Netflix the most, then HBO Max, because Netflix comes with a lot of anime. So,
yeah, I'm definitely
but
gonna watch that Game of Thrones though, because I haven't watched that, and I keep hearing about it.
yeah, Game of Thrones. I watched a few episodes of. Well, actually, I watched the first season, and that was awesome, man. That was a really good show. It's a lot of of course, there's a lot of nudity, right? And I mean, like you would think that they were actually doing something, but it's not. It's not considered prawn. So, since it's not considered that, they're not actually doing it. But them special effects or whatever they doing, or maybe they just putting it up against it or something like that. I don't know. But it be looking like they really doing something.
Mm,
I mean,
let me
you'd
see.
be quite surprised. That's something that you gotta watch by yourself,
So a lot
or maybe,
of
or maybe,
nudity.
or maybe your wife or something like that.
Hey.
Well, just get past the gore and stuff like that and get straight to the action.
As long as it got a good story. Like
Oh yeah,
I'm
it's a
one of those
great
people,
story.
I like story art and the plots and stuff like that. I mean, of course the cinematography is good, like the visuals and everything, but it's like you could have great visuals and everything and it'd be trash. Like uh what is it, all those Transformer movies where it's like, oh, it looks cool and everything and the plot and the story is complete garbage.
Oh yeah, that's the thing
Brace
about
yourself. We're
Michael
getting
Bay
started.
movies.
Garbage. And I'm just
That's the
like,
thing.
it makes me sad because it's like I like Transformer as a kid. And it's like it could be so much better, and it's just garbage.
Yeah, that's the thing. That you remember they had the black exploitation robots. They had
Oh,
the two short robots that would have all that shucking and driving and carrying on.
yeah. Oh
I'm
man.
sitting, I'm sitting here like, man, what?
Oh boy. That was something else. I hope they get better. I hope if they were to like reboot it or something, they choose
Somebody else does it.
somebody who's better.
Yeah, I would hope so too. But I didn't even watch the last one.
I don't even remember. I think I sat through all of them, but it
Sat
was
through.
like it's like because I already started, so it's like I might as well just finish them, you know?
So you
Kind
watched
of
the
like
last night?
the Star Wars series. It's like I already started it, so I might as well just finish it.
No. Yeah, Star Wars, man, they disappointed me with that last one. I was like, or the
Oof.
last three. I was
Yeah,
like,
the last
yeesh.
three.
I was like, good lord. Especially when I saw spoiler alert. Especially when I saw what you call it, Luke.
Mm.
I was saying like, why is Mark Hamill over here chilling? And he was just like, oh no, I don't even want no smoke. I
Contradicting
was
his
like,
character.
I was sitting here like, man, we need you.
Exactly.
What's
Contradicting
it?
everything we know about him.
I was sitting here like, and then some of the like the what do you call it? The powers didn't make no sense. I was
Nope.
sitting here like, okay, so you gonna astral project over here in front of these people, and they're gonna shoot up the whole. They gonna use every single gun to shoot them up, and then I'm sorry, I'm actually changing the light bulb. So they're gonna shoot up every single bullet that they got at Mark Hamill or Luke Skywalker,
Hmm.
and then that's when they realize like, oh, that's not even him, and then he ends up dying. I was like, why did he die?
I think I think the powers somewhat made sense. It's just they didn't make them make sense. Because like the astral projection, there's the whole concept of the force ghost thing. So
Hmm.
it's like I can kind of see how that can work. I could even possibly see how the teleportation could work. It's just you're telling me this untrained know-it-all is able to do more than, Yoda and all these other well-trained individuals of the Force, and we never seen them use this, but all of a sudden she's able to teleport stuff and project herself and like do stuff, all this advanced stuff, the
Man, when I saw them kiss, I was like, nah, bro, y'all tripping.
yeah, they doing the most.
I was like, what does this have to do with anything? There was no like love connection that's whatsoever.
They turn what's the name into a cuck. What's his name? The black guy?
Oh
What's
yeah, John Boyega. I was sitting here like, what's up with I thought that Ray and John Boyega was gonna get together or something like that.
exactly.
Not him and the Asian lady. I can't think
Well,
of her
they
actual name.
alluded he alluded to how he had a bigger part and then they changed it. And that's
Yeah,
why his character seemed so out of place in that movie where it's like he was just running and like shouting for Ray and stuff and I'm like, what is his character doing? It was like
like he
they
had.
he was completely out of place because they literally changed things like at the last minute or whatever.
Yeah, I'm sitting here like, okay, so what exactly is the point of him being there?
Exactly.
Like, is his like, you know what I mean? Like at the, I don't know. Like the last thing he did I can remember was he was driving the vehicle into to say the Asian lady. I really don't know her name. I don't even know if they
Yeah, I
said
don't
her
remember
name.
the name either.
But you know who I'm talking about, or his love
Yeah.
interest or something. I'll just say the love interest because I don't want nobody to be. Oh, what do you mean? Yeah, what do you mean by an Asian lady?
Nope.
But but
So in
yeah,
a
so
way, like a
yeah, he
lot of
was.
guys today, this is a segue. A lot of guys today, he felt underappreciated, undervalued, and if you think about it, we relate that back to Walt, where he felt underappreciated, undervalued, and he pretty much stuck a finger to everybody. He was pretty much like,
That's bullshit.
I'm gonna do what I want to do. I'm gonna do what I need to do, what I feel I need to do, and you guys are along with me for the ride.
Facts.
Now he still cared about his family, you know. He did what he needed to do to protect his family. All that all that stuff. It's just when because I believe Skylar was his wife. I believe when she found out that she was no longer top priority,
Hmm.
when he said, okay, I gotta take care of this work, he wasn't at home as much, etc., etc. She felt some type of way because she was always the priority up to that point.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing is, do you put your family as priority when it comes to your career? You know, and actually, I had a whole conversation about this before. Like, do you put your family or your career first?
Hmm. Well, I did both.
Hmm.
Um, because my daughter came early,
Hmm.
and I'm in trucking, so I was more than willing to do 2 years over the road, and I was actually training at a company, making good money, I think I shoot. I started off at the high end. My first job was 80K, and then I got let go from that job from some BS. And then
Hmm.
right after that, I was making 10K a month. And this was like 2, 3 years ago. So I was like 25.
Hmm.
And I was supposed to be, now I lucked up with that job. I'm not gonna lie. Making
The
the
one that you got
10K.
let go from?
Yeah. Like the one,
Wait, the 10K or
yeah,
the
10K.
100K?
I was making over 10K a month.
Oh,
And
okay, okay.
I was actually able to get, it was kind of semi home. Like I was out a day and then back a day. And then once they got their new insurance and stuff, because I was a new driver, because I wasn't supposed to have that job. But
Hmm.
once they got their new insurance and stuff, they let me go because it was too expensive to keep me on there. So I was willing to look for a third job that would have been over the road. So I would have been gone for like 3, 4 months. And mind you, I got a daughter on the way.
Hmm.
So while I'm out training, I remember shout out to truckers, man, because truckers are some of the most helpful, nice people that I've ever met in my life. Like
Yeah.
I could go at a truck stop and just have any kind of conversation with any of those guys, you know.
Hmm.
So I'm at a truck stop with these guys, and we're just talking, and I'm telling them like, yeah, my girl's pregnant, my fiance, because she was my fiance at the time,
Right.
and she's pregnant, and I'm trying to contemplate how I'm gonna do this thing on the road, and those guys they kind of set me down because one of the actually a couple of them had children, and they were just being straight up. They was like, hey, you know, I've been trucking for the last 20 plus years, and it's hard because and he was like, I barely know my kids. Like I'm home like once every 3 or 4 months, and my wife takes care of everything. I pay the bills and everything, but it's like
Hmm.
I don't even know my kids like that because I'm over the road and stuff. And he was telling me like some of the harsher parts of it because when you're out on the road that long,
Hmm.
you don't have the time to be raising your family and stuff like that. You know.
Hmm.
And they were telling me that, and I had to make a decision where it's like, damn, it's like, okay, so it's an unplanned child, which, stuff happens, life happens.
I mean, as
And
long as y'all were like, y'all were
yeah,
able to afford
yeah, we were
your
able to
child. That's the
afford it
thing.
because she was working at the time, and I would have been like, had it not happened, she would be pregnant right now, and I'd be making, I'm pretty sure, well over 100K right now. But because it happened, because I was right, it was right when I was actually switching over into trucking. So
Hmm.
I was a greenhorn, I was a new trucker switching my careers. And the
Hmm.
plan was I was supposed to do my 2 years because in trucking, once you get your 2 years over the road, you're pretty much guaranteed to be able to work anywhere you want in trucking. Like you have
Okay.
hella leverage. So I was like, okay, let me put these 2 years in. And then once I put the 2 years in, you know, I should be making at least 100K, and I'll be able to pay all the bills like I need to. She can work part time if she wants to, but she would be get pregnant right now, because I would have had
Hmm.
my 2 years.
Oh yeah, you would have put it in, huh?
Yeah,
Put in the
but
work.
thing, yeah, but things started early, so I got thrown a curveball. So what I did instead, I went the slower route. So
Hmm.
actually, ironically, and this might be fate. I ended up at the facility, a distribution center that my grandfather retired from.
Hmm.
So my grandfather was a truck driver, and he worked at this company, a Kroger company, through his retirement. Great benefits, everything. And I
Hmm.
actually ended up at that exact same facility he was. I had to work in the warehouse for about
I'm
six
sorry.
months, which is very hard. If anybody who's worked in a warehouse, it's real hard. Now I was
Oh yeah, it
capable,
is.
because I'm a former athlete, so I was capable of doing it, and I was like one of the top 10, 20% performers. But
Slight flex. Okay.
yeah, yeah, and it was not bad. Like you can make 80K just working in the warehouse. I'm talking about no college degree, no nothing, like 80K. But you have to bust your butt. you got to be capable.
Mhm.
So I was working in the warehouse for 6 months until the position I currently have opened up, which was on the yard. Because, like I said, I didn't have over the road. I still had my CDL, but I didn't have the over the road, and I didn't want to be away from home months at a time. So that's why I work nights. So now the dynamic I have, it's good for both my career and my family because I work nights. So my wife, she works the daytime, and then I'm the daycare during the day. And I can
Okay.
do all this other stuff, like I'm doing right now on the computer and whatnot. And then on top of that, I'm going to be starting over the road this come January, and I'll get another pay increase, of course, and
Hey.
then I'll still be daily. So I'll still be working, but I'll be going out on the road, and then I'll still be, coming home every night or whatever. So I'll still be able to get home daily, which is what the goal was initially. But initially, I was supposed to be working the first 2 years to get this position, but instead, I found an alternative way to get to it.
Mhm.
So now I'm going to be doing the daily because that's really what most drivers want to be able to do. They want to be able to do the daily jobs, but like I said, you have to be one of those guys where you have the experience to where they'll take you, where it makes sense because of the cost. So I'm able to get that position now with the company I'm working with. They got excellent benefits. Actually, I'm switching my wife over to them right now,
Mhm.
and I'm saving on childcare too because I work nights, she works days. I take care of the child during the day. She puts her down for bedtime at night. You see what I'm saying? So I was able to find that sweet spot where, you know, I'm able to still get the career, but also, have it benefit my family in a way that makes the most sense, you know?
Joe, I want to give you a salute because they say that trucking is one of the most dangerous jobs that there is. One of, not the most, but give you guys the salute because I know you guys are putting in a lot of hours, driving many many hours. So
Oh yeah.
um, I'm glad that you are able to do it for your family. And really, that's the thing is that somebody was saying that I believe it was We Ain't Signing Ish on my channel. He was saying how um and overall we all especially men we all do it for our family.
Mm-hmm.
We have a career for our family. So that was the thing is that you obviously just put your family first because you wouldn't be doing all these things. Like you wouldn't really need to be making 100K if you weren't planning on having a family or anything like that.
Exactly. Because
You
I
would just be
I could
chilling.
survive comfortably on 60 by myself. I don't need to make 100K.
Hmm.
Like I could
Exactly.
survive on 40, 50 by myself, which is the average, ironically, if you think about
Hmm.
it.
Yeah. So and that's the thing is that you can survive pretty well without even having to do much of anything.
Yeah.
You don't really overall, right? I would always advocate for people to be their best selves, but like, you'll be just fine. It's not like like when you got a family and kids and carrying on, and that's when you need to be making a lot more. If you ever aspire to do anything with that money or with your life or stuff like that, then I
Hmm.
would say go ahead and try and um, get some sort of certification or some sort of degree or something in order to certify that hey this person can actually do a specific type of task. um but with that, man, it's one of those things where you know I know like on social media we have this whole six figure obsession,
Yes.
right? It's like, oh yeah, make six figures, or he doesn't make six figures, he's not worthy enough, stuff like that.
6 foot, 6 figures, 6 inches.
All right, six pack.
A six pack, yeah. But I think I was talking about related to what you were talking about. Um, on it was either King Talk on the Lapeef Network or with Shannon Rawls, where we were talking about um dang, I just had a brain for it. We were talking about the concept of guys and how we do better for our women that inspire us. Because of course, if you look at the statistics, that it says married men earn more or whatever, right? Which, there could be a plethora of reasons why that is,
Hmm.
but it is true. But we were also we were talking about like our dynamics, like with me and my wife and everything. Like because she does what she does, it makes me want to do more, because well, I don't want to say it's because
Yeah, I
it's
was just
not,
about to ask.
yeah, it's not really competition. It's not really competition. But I do have a competitive side to me. But it's not really like I'm competing with her for the household or something like that. But it's like, okay, if she's being perfect, I'm talking about like absolutely perfect, she's gone above and beyond, and then I'm just doing the bare minimum. You know what I'm saying? It's like, well, damn, I need to do more, you know?
Hmm.
And that's why, like, when I talk about, and Kevin, he touches on this too, where inspiring, man, and he doesn't really go into detail on how to do it, but I'll give a little bit of game right now. It's like, if you do your part as a wife or as a woman, the way you're supposed to for your guy, he's naturally going to want to do stuff for you. Meaning, if I get home, I don't have to worry about certain things. She's remembering and doing everything that she knows I like. Like, like in my case, it's like I put my clothes up a certain way. So she folds and rolls my clothes up a certain way, puts them up. I don't have to ask her to do certain things. Like when I get home, I got a cup of water or something next to my desk and the paper or whatever. Like when she's doing all that little stuff. And then it's like, okay, I have no excuses not to perform better because she's kind of like a cheat code. She's like helping me perform better. But at the same time, I know like, okay, if there is a problem in the relationship, I know it's not her. So let me not be the problem. So let me, because I'm able to, let me do better because I see her doing her absolute best. She's putting in effort. And to some extent, like I said, it's not competition for the relationship, but it's more so like competition, like, okay, you're not going to outdo me. Like I said, there is a bit of competition, but it's not like for the relationship. It's more so like, you're so awesome. You make me want to do, you make me want to be awesome, you know,
Hmm.
in what I'm doing.
You know what, Joe? I got a question for you.
Yeah.
How do you like being married?
How do I like being married? It's carefree if you do it right.
Yeah, man.
If
Cause okay.
well, if because it's crazy because it's like a lot of the horror stories, and I talk about this in my videos and stuff. A lot of the horror stories, I saw them, I'm aware of them, but it was never me. One reason being I never dealt with a specific type of woman, the
Hmm.
ratchets, the entitled, et cetera, et cetera. I don't care how attractive they were, because don't get me wrong, some of them was pretty damn attractive, but I made it very clear I didn't want a certain type. So
Hmm.
I made sure not to deal with them. But if you find the right one, of course she's gonna have to put in her work too. She's gonna have to show effort and willingness to, sacrifice for you as well. Especially if you're in process. That's what I believe is the best. But I don't have to worry about whether or not she's sneaking around on me. I don't have to worry about if she's gonna undermine me or something like that. Of course, as always, I'm prepared if things go sour. We got the prenup and everything like that. Like, be smart,
Hey.
guys. Be smart. Don't be stupid. You wouldn't drive a car with no car insurance, but it's like you can be responsible but still somewhat carefree. You can drive your car, but you're still paying for that insurance. But, it's like one of those things where it's like, okay, she understands what I'm trying to do. She understands um the process that we're taking, like, the 5 to 10 year plan and everything like that. And she understands my career. I'm gonna sponsor her through her master's program when time comes. Like we talk about this stuff on the regular. So she's on page, she's on board 100%. And it's
Mhm.
like it just feels, I don't know, it's like it clears your mind knowing you don't have to worry about the person laying next to you, whether or not they're gonna stab you in the back, or knowing that I have someone that I know 100% is in my corner. Because if I fail, we fail. So therefore, she is the one person I know on this planet that absolutely only wants the best for me, and then there for us. You know?
Mhm. You know what, Joe? Um, I completely agree. Well, I can't say I gotta agree because right, but I think that's a good way of thinking about that, right? Um, the reason I was actually about to do a live stream talking about like women and their degrees.
Hmm.
Um, I was saying, like you watch the Kevin Samuels, and then he talks about like, oh, men would most likely just want to go for the woman who works at McDonald's or something like that, or Foot Locker or whatever. Shout out
They're
to
willing.
PLA. Hmm?
I said they're willing.
Yeah, like I mean, like obviously, right? Is that men would probably, want the best, right?
Yeah.
You would want somebody who, is working on becoming a better person and stuff like that, and in the gym, got their money to themselves and stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
But the reason I was gonna make the video is gonna be talking about like, oh, women, your degrees do matter because as long as you don't weaponize like, oh, I'm a PhD, that means I don't need a relationship. I'm like,
Hmm.
okay, well, you know what I mean? Like
But
that's
that's
gonna
the
be.
thing. That's the
Mhm.
whole point he's making. It's like it's not that they don't matter. It's just they don't matter when it comes to dating
Yeah,
because we know they're not trying to pay the bills in the long run. They did that degree process to try to use it, like you said, for leverage. Like because I got this degree, I'm worth more than that girl over there that doesn't have a degree, even though she's fit, feminine, and friendly. You know?
yeah, but the thing is that that doesn't necessarily mean that they're better, right?
Yeah.
Not yeah, that's the thing is that, and that doesn't even mean that they make more money. You
Because
can
I
most
think
definitely have a degree and then be working at McDonald's still. Oh no, McDonald's ain't gonna hire you, so you're gonna have to have work at like Charlotte Roots or something like that.
Yeah, because I think even in Breaking Bad, Skyler, I think he met her when she was in college. Like later in the series, she eventually goes to work for a company despite not working, because she has whatever degrees and accolades. Like she's intelligent. I believe she was like a accountant or something. So it's like she's intelligent and everything. We do value intelligence, but the thing is, in her case, she cooked breakfast, she took care of the kids, she inspired her husband to some extent. She was a bit controlling to to a little bit,
I
but
mean, she did
that's
pull
more
a
so
knife out on
Walt.
him.
Yeah, that's more so Walt. He was catering to her. Like he was allowing her to, and then she got comfortable in that role. But, she was still, of course she's fit, in this case. So it's not like she's domineering. She just lays down, eats a bunch of food. She doesn't do anything at the house, and then he goes off and does everything for the family. Like, no, she's doing her part, but she's highly intelligent and everything, and we value that. It's just you can't sit up here and say you should go out there and work, earn all the money, and I'm not going to do any of the stuff at home because if you complain about it, remember, I can get out here and do bad by myself. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? So it's like they try to leverage their ability to get out there to work to 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 not do all the other stuff.
Yeah, and the funny thing is that statement. Yeah, a lot of women can go out there and do bad all by themselves. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
that's the thing about it is that it actually. I was, I know that I'm sure you probably heard all this beef that's going on in the manosphere right now with
Well, other than so is it
uh,
something additional to the fake and fraud thing, or is there something
oh
else?
no, it didn't blew up, man. They going at Kevin Samuels, they going at
Who?
TLA. Listening to Ramil Amir. You ever heard of him?
He sounds familiar. I think so.
Yeah, yeah, man. He used to be on this thing called The Lions Den with Kevin Samuels. Is talking about business and stuff like that. And
So
then
he going
now,
at him?
yo, yeah, man, he went at Pocket Watcher with JT. He went at
Oh God. See,
Dar
I don't
Daryl
do that
Sterling.
beef and stuff. And ironically, I don't want people to take this the wrong way, but I do have another show,
Mhm.
and it's a bit clickbaity. Let's just be real. I mean, you can dig the thumbnail. It's like the danger of Kevin Samuels, which the top. I'll explain what the topic is, but I'm not beefing or anything. I mean, however, if people tune in to think I am, I mean, joke's on you. But but it is a bit of a clickbait thing. But it's like I actually explain the purpose of it, and it's not what some people would think it is. But I'm actually interested now that you tell me that if more people than normal would tune in just because they're thinking I'm trying to talk crap about Kevin Samuels or something.
Most people probably wouldn't even watch the video and just give it a dislike and then give a comment, giving some hate. That's what a lot of people do nowadays. They don't even watch the video, especially if the video is long. Like you can
Yeah.
have if the video ain't a minute long or 2 minutes long or something like that. Well, oh yeah, it's clickbait.
Mm,
Then it's gonna be people who just comment because their attention spans aren't long enough.
don't make no sense.
Yeah, man. I made a post on my story, not on my story, but on my community tab, talking about men from Atlanta. So a good woman comes from God, and a good man comes from Atlanta, Georgia. And then there's so many people up in the chat talking about, oh well, there's so many down low men in Atlanta and all this other kind of stuff, and STDs and carrying on. But it's never like, they, obviously it's a joke, but these people are taking it like it's serious. Joe.
I I laugh at stuff. I laugh. Maybe I laugh a little too much. But I'm facetious. But it's just like when I hear hypocrisy, when I don't know. It's just some things I think about it deeper than what it really is, or I think I kind of do what I do, and I kind of go into a deep thought about it, and I just laugh at it, to a
Hmm.
certain extent. I
Yeah,
plan on
man.
opening up a little bit. Like some of my jokes, I'm not gonna lie, they're gonna. I already know they're gonna rub people the wrong way. Like I see all the energy Anton's getting. I see all the energy Kevin's getting, and I'm just like, if y'all don't like what they be saying and doing, y'all really not gonna like what I'm gonna be saying and doing.
I feel you on that one. But the thing is that nobody's gonna agree with 100% of what anybody's gonna say.
Yeah, but that's
And ac-
true. That's
and
true for all
actually,
men.
it's true. But when I was actually listening to Ramil talking, I was saying like dang, he making some good points. He actually went to O'Shea as well. I forgot to tell you that.
Hmm. Well,
And O'Shea
I
was
gotta look at it because like I know sometimes people can make some good points. Like there's some things that they say. They talk about young men today not dating past past their 20. Hey, what's good, Neo Moses? But young men not dating uh in their 20s and stuff. And I remember I forgot
the roommate
I
said
might have been
that.
yeah, I might have been talking on Lapeef or something, but I was just like, you're asking guys, it might have been on Shannon's show, but I was like, you're asking the men of today to do something that no other group of men has had to do. Like no other group of men has had to literally forego their 20s to get a wife or get married. Now, some guys chose not to because they understood, delayed gratification. If I wait till my 30s, 40s, till I'm richer or got more resources, I can get the harder wife. But today, it's like you can't even get a wife in general. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Until
Yeah.
then. So it's like back then, like 50 plus years ago, you know, it was okay to get married in 18, 19, 20 years old. Your wife is the same age as you. That was fairly common. It was
Mhm.
also common, the age gap that, 10, 15 years as well. But like I said, those guys usually got the hotter ones. You know, they
Mhm.
they for they forewent their 20s because they were like, I want to make sure I get the best I can get. But it was fairly common to get married in your 20s or sometimes your teens. And today, the average guy, like I said it, I think I said it at the beginning of the show. I was like, I can't, even though I'm pro marriage, I can't recommend marriage for most men today in the West.
Mhm.
I can't
Why is that?
because most guys are average. And I know the typical average Western woman, it's not going to end well. It's going to end in divorce, and the guy is more than likely going to have to suffer financially, especially, and of course, thanks to the lead attorney, shout out to him, where he did tell us how some guys they cater to their ex-wives and stuff like they give up custody, they willingly pay alimony, or they don't take alimony. They don't get the same benefits in the family court as the women do. You know,
Mhm.
and we already know the divorce rates today. I mean, it's pretty much 50-50, especially for the average guy, and that's each year. You know. So there's like a 50-50 shot you're going to get divorced every year or something like that if you were to extrapolate it. But it's
Mhm.
like,
Yeah, flip of a coin.
yeah, pretty much. And it's all based off her happiness, and that's fleeting.
Yeah, that's why went on Mrs. B Finesse's channel, and I was like, when you thinking about happiness, that's only one part of the pie chart, right?
Yeah.
You have happiness, you have respect, you have duty, have all these other things that go into this pie chart, and then happiness is just one part of it, and really not even supposed to be the most important part. It's supposed to be like 10%
hmm
of what I would think a relationship should be, right?
It's supposed to be like sugar. It's
Yeah,
like,
it's like
how you eat sugar here and there, but you're not supposed to just eat sugar.
if you were unhappy one day, it's not like, oh, you should go ahead and get divorced.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm unhappy today. Okay, here's the divorce papers. Go ahead and sign. Oh, I'm happy today. Let's go ahead and well, there's no real extra benefit you get, from her being extra happy that day or something like that.
hmm
It's only
Exactly.
after you already get to the marriage part, there's no more else that they can really do to, what I mean? Like you already reached the final
But
step.
but here's what I gotta say. Here's one thing I will say.
Hmm.
There is a difference between when happiness is active and when it's passive. Because my wife, me and my wife, we're happy when we're just around each other. Like we're just happy to be in one another's presence. Like I don't have to actively cater to her or rub her feet and do all this other stuff to make her happy. She's just happy when I walk in the door. You know what I'm saying? And it's not like she's ecstatic, which she might be initially, but it's just like, oh, I'm happy you're here. You know? And of course there's levels to it, but it's like cuz my thing is I'm trying to understand cuz I got a fairly good understanding of my relationship, but I'm trying to understand, okay, how can I broadcast this my relationship, my situation to people so they can copy it? Like, how can we emulate what I was able to do today, which was get a girl while I was in my 20s in process? Of course, we should have been married, even though we didn't. But let's just be real. If you ask either of it, like, baby, we pretty much been married for 10 years, right? At least seven. Like yeah, so like we got married this year, but we've pretty much been married for at least like the 7 year last 7 years, like she said.
That's how it is, man. Did you guys move in before you got married?
Well, we moved in. We got engaged. We had like an kind of an elongated uh engagement. We were supposed to get married last year. Of course, we also had my job changing and I was let go and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So there was a lot of stuff that happened where I just wasn't comfortable. Like we could have just went down to the courthouse like what we did this year, but I was like, I wasn't in the position where I was comfortable doing that. I knew I wanted to be with her, but I was just like, okay, I guess you could say I was probably having some doubts about myself and then therefore the situation to some extent.
Mm-hmm.
But it was one of those things where things just didn't align well enough. Of course, the shutdown didn't help because, like I said, we would have gotten married last year, like we were supposed to. But it of course we went ahead and finalized it this year. Thank God, because I'm not even gonna lie. I was like, yo, can we just like, can we just get this done?
Yeah, man.
you know,
So, the thing is that I think about getting married and stuff like that. Obviously I've been, in these YouTube streets, in the YouTube streets,
and the
right? And
streets.
yeah, and they tell you, oh man, don't do it. They
Oh
tell you
shit.
don't do it. And there's this guy called Mr. Rucker. He always just jumps in the chat talking about some prenup. But
I
the
mean,
thing
but
is,
yeah, I mean, you have
uh
because think about it. Think of how this myth that and it's so oxymoronical because it's like you guys are talking about the dangers of family court and the red pill community and everything, and the one thing that is supposed to help you to some extent, you guys are sitting up here talking about it doesn't work or don't do it. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, what? And then of course the lead attorney when he made that show and he was like, they're like 97, 98% effective as long as you do them right. And the times they aren't effective, it's because of some BS,
hmm
because you wrote them on a damn napkin or something, or
I wanted to
or
only
you
get one
willingly threw it
dollar.
out.
She can only get $1 if she divorces me, and she weighs over 200 pounds or something like that.
But yeah, I'm just like, guys, like, and here's the crazy part. Here's the crazy part. What gives the prenup the most value is if you've already accumulated your wealth and she's getting with you after the fact, which is what the majority of these guys are saying. Which is like when I hear some of these younger guys, they're talking about, oh yeah, screw girls, I'm gonna work till my 30s, mid 30s, and and then I'm gonna find me something, and they're talking about, oh, prenups don't work, and I'm like, well, if you work your way up like you say you are, prenups are pretty much going to be mandatory. Like that's when it's most ideal. Like in my case, if I had married my girl 7 years ago, I ain't have shit, you know. So I probably still would have thought of a prenup. I would have had to restructure a marriage agreement or something, just a postnup or something like that. So if things do end, you can kind of restructure it throughout the process of the marriage or whatever. But it's like a prenup wouldn't have benefited me as much as it would have if I were to build myself up into a freaking millionaire and then married some 20-year-old something, you know?
Mhm.
Like that's when it's most viable. That's when you need it the most if you work your way up and then marry later.
Yeah, and then the thing is that my girl isn't even in favor of having prenups, and
See,
I just
that's
like,
the
oh
thing though.
Lord.
But there's a reason for that. Women know. And that's the crazy part. Like the same guys that talk about prenups not working, these very women still don't want them either for a reason because they know it limits their power. They know it limits the risk on the man's side. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So it's like it's oxymoronical to me because when they push that narrative that prenups don't work, but then they talk about build yourself up into the best man so you can get that submissive wife or whatever. I'm
Mhm.
sorry. Shout out to Kevin, because he just made that video yesterday and he said what I said, what was it, like last week when I was talking, I think it was either Shannon or King talk, and I was like,
Hmm.
I don't believe in unconditional love. Like I don't think it exists. Like the closest thing you can get to that is is with your child, and even then, there's still some conditions there. So it's like this concept of all these guys talking about, oh, I want my wife to have this thing where she loves me unconditionally or some crap like that. I'm like, no, there is no unconditional love.
Yeah, I
There's always
agree
going to
with
be
you on that.
conditions. And
I agree
Kevin
with you
said it
because
yesterday during his stream, and I was like, kudos. I'm like, finally, reason.
yeah, the thing is that there's people who who are Christians, and then they're supposed to love God unconditionally, but then they lose their religion. I mean, they
Hmm.
turn away from their religion, and then
But
they
there's always a
don't
reason.
exactly. But that's the point is that there's a condition, right? Is that
Hmm.
I can always say, oh yeah, I love my mom unconditionally, but then I can't speak for everybody and say that unconditional love exists, right? Because
Hmm.
there's people out there who don't love their mom. There's people out there who don't love their
But think
kids.
about this. Even in that concept, where someone says they don't love their mom or they're in a situation with their mom, right?
Hmm.
How they tend to be treated by others. Like, oh, you don't love your mom? Like you're weird. Like they're ousted. Like, they assume you have some sort of trauma. I mean, their mom could have been a crack dealing, floozy or something, like, who tried to sell them off to the sex game or something. You know what I'm saying? Like people don't
Yeah,
know it,
like
but it's
Holiday
like,
Heart.
yeah, it's like people think you're supposed to have this undying favor and love for your mother. And I'm just like, not all moms are great. Just the same way not all fathers are great.
Hmm.
So it's like, that child, even the children that don't know their mom, like the ones that are adopted, they seek out their parents because they're looking for something or they're looking for that concept or the what do you call it? It's like their idea of what they've been taught a mom is or what their parents are because they're thinking, oh, I'm gonna find my real parents and then they're gonna be like, oh, my baby, I love you, and all this other stuff. Like they're thinking the idea of it or what it's supposed to be or what they've been told. But
Hmm.
it's like, if that's not what it is, how can you ever really love them? You know?
Exactly. It reminds me of this movie. I think it was Joker, where he wanted to meet his mom, and then he finally met her, and then she was like, I ain't want you."
Yeah.
It was something like that. I think it was Joker or something like that.
No, no, no,
he
no.
got a
Nope.
he got a brush with reality right there. But he did what he did. He brushed it off to some extent. Of course, it
Who,
might,
Joker?
huh?
Who, Joker?
Yeah.
No,
I
he
mean,
ain't
he
brushed
can
it off. He ended up killing people.
exactly. That was his way.
That's his way of brushing it off.
Well, he was already troubled, but he was still. I guess he was seeking. He was trying to seek that idea of love from her where it's like, the concept is your mother's supposed to love you unconditionally. In his case, his mama ain't care about him. So he was like,
Mhm.
oh, well, screw it. I'll just go out here and do what I was originally going to do. And he
And it
had no
was
attachment to the world, you know?
and it was crazy is that when he actually found out that Bruce Wayne's dad wasn't his actual father,
Hmm.
and 'cause I'm assuming that you watched Joker, the movie Joker,
Yeah,
but
yeah, I liked it.
yeah, it was a good movie. But the thing is that when he found out that his father wasn't actually Bruce Wayne's father, he was just like, "What?"
He
And
felt
then
some type of way.
yeah, his mom had or his adopted mom had found had what she do? She lied to him all his life, and he ended up
She was
killing
lying
her.
to him.
Yeah, was that his actual mom? I forgot.
I think it was like the one he was taking care of.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Okay, she was just crazy.
yeah, because she would always allude to it and everything like that and talk about it and everything about the relationship. And it seemed like, oh, he was the child, the accidental child, and he put her up in an apartment or something to like, keep you out of the way. But it ended up not being true. And she ended up being like, he found out she was like his stalker instead.
I wonder who she got pregnant by.
I forgot. Might have been just some random
A random dude. Oh, yeah,
or somebody. It might have been somebody at the Wayne's, whatever. But it wasn't. It wasn't who she said it was.
yeah. So that's the thing about it is that it wasn't even Alfred. She
Mm.
didn't even give it to Butler.
Oh, I think he had morals.
Right. But that's the thing, man, is that it's sad, and they actually showed I hate the fact that they were like they had a single parent household, single mom and stuff like that, and they lived in the I guess the projects, I guess.
Hmm.
And then that's what it is that and then she was mentally ill and old.
Yep.
She was a
And she
mentally
needed
ill
somebody
old
to take
single
care of
woman.
her. That's
All right.
really why she kept him around. It wasn't because she loved him. It's like she really was in love with the idea of her supposed baby daddy. Like she was still infatuated with that guy. And because he wasn't really their love child, she didn't really have any attachment to Joker. And she was more so just needed him to take care of her, you know?
Hmm.
And she would feed off of him because, like you said, in his mind, up to that point, he thought that she loved him like a mother should love a child. But of course, once he figured out what the game was, and then that's when, spoiler alert, that's when he offed her.
Hmm. Yeah, take her out.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
it's like his world, I don't know, it's like it collapsed on him. And
I
then
mean,
he
yeah, that's when he
just,
got a lot more violent.
yeah.
He said he ain't had nothing else to live for after that. He had no
It's,
family, no friends.
and that's actually similar to Walter. When he was,
Well, at least
when
Walter had family, but still.
Yeah, but when his wife, I think later in the series, his wife, they were pretty much together apart. Like his wife was no longer in love with him. Her love had gone. Like he had done too much. He had done too much dirt. Because some people were missing and got killed and stuff like that. So morally, like I said, he's like modern men aside from the illegal stuff. Like if it wasn't for the illegal stuff, it would be much different. But he was doing so much illegal stuff, and I mean, I'm talking about kids, you know, killing kids and stuff, like and covering
Yeah.
it up, like like he was doing some highly immoral stuff. And eventually, now she didn't know about all that, but she knows he's doing some dirt out here, you know, and
Hmm.
she realized, like in that clip that I was playing, this clip right here.
You need to understand.
I have to hear one more time that you did this for the family.
I did it for me. I liked it. I was good at it. And I was really, I was alive.
So it has switched from him doing it for his family to now he was feeling fulfilled by it. He was getting some excitement like an adrenaline junkie. Like he was liking it too much for himself.
Man, all I can say is that acting right there, man. That
I
was
know, right?
that was good as I don't know what, man.
That's why, like, I tried to downplay it, but I'm not even gonna lie. Like this is my favorite. series, period, to be honest. If I'm just being honest, people. Like this, like Breaking Bad is at the top of my list. Like
I
for
was sitting
sure.
here like, God, Lee, this man was that was some good. I did it for me.
The acting, the storytelling, the character arcs. I mean, there isn't I can't think of anything bad about it, to be honest. I can't.
Man, you know that right there was that was just so believable. It's very hard to find like Bryan Cranston, man. Bryan Cranston is a great actor. Like, oh my gosh.
He'll
But
forever be known as the Breaking Bad guy.
yeah, or the
Walter White.
Malcolm in the Middle guy, the Malcolm in the Middle dad. So but yeah, Joe. Um, overall, man, I think that your analysis of it was correct. I think that does represent the average man getting red pilled. I guess what you would say.
The Awakening.
Yeah, accepting the harsh realities and truths of the world, and then being able to thrive within it.
hmm
And then you have the blue pill, which
Just
would be
yeah,
Jesse.
Jesse, the one that when he was exposed to it, he was the opposite. He crumbled.
Right. Yeah.
Very
All
good
right.
stories. Any last remarks?
Yeah, I was just saying that I think that you're correct, and overall, I'm glad that I was able to come up here, and I was like, okay, I gotta go ahead and show some support, man.
Oh yeah.
Even
Actually,
though,
you know what? You credit me for being the first on your show, and I actually believe you're also the first on my show as well.
oh yeah, let's see,
Yeah,
that's
because
how
I
that's how it
really do
goes,
these.
man.
Yeah, I really do these lives, which I'm gonna try to do more of them because I've been doing like prepared stuff and whatnot and videos and recordings, and I'm like I need to do more lives.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's a good thing that I was on the first one to come up, so I can return the favor, man, because
Oh
it
yeah, I
was
appreciate
rough.
it.
Actually, I still got the video up. Yeah, I still got the video up. It was me talking about I was responding to Anton Daniels when he was talking about luck doesn't exist. So I said, can I prove that luck exists? And then you
Shout
was the
out to
first one to come
Anton.
up. Yes, sir. Shout out to Anton, man. I'm actually about to do another pre-recorded video right quick about the struggle Anton Daniels that
I haven't watched that one yet.
yeah, I haven't watched it, so
The
that's why I'm
Beautiful
gonna do a
Lies.
reaction. Yeah, do a reaction video to it.
All right, folks. Let me go ahead and wrap this up and go
All
check
right,
out
man.
Before the Billions in his channel.
Thank you so
Please
much,
do.
Joe.
I am
All
an
right.
avid supporter of his. But Walter White is the modern man. So once again, not the acts, the concept, his character arc, and how he was able to accept reality and thrive in it, as I guess you guys would call it RPA or red pill aware. And Jesse, he was the counter to that, where when reality was exposed to him as it was, he crumbled. He couldn't bear it, and his underperformance continued and actually fell through the bottom. So I would like to thank Before the Billions for coming up to have this chat. I'll probably hop on your show later on. What time are you gonna be going live?
Um, I gotta see, man, because I'm planning on going live, but then it's already 9 o'clock, man.
Hmm.
So,
I think
uh,
Kevin's supposed to be doing live. I might have to check out his because I gotta finish watching his stream from yesterday. And I think he
okay,
said he's gonna do more YouTubes, so he might be on YouTube tonight.
yeah, man, I gotta check it out as well. But thank you so much for having me up here, and I
Well, thanks for
appreciate you.
coming.
I'll most definitely be checking you out a lot more often.
All right, stay tuned for more. And
Thank
there
you
will be
so
a lot
much.
of thought. People, please support the channels. Go check out Before the Billions. Stay tuned for my content and keep at it, y'all.